get funky.
All right, and welcome to the Biz. We're all up in it. I'm your boy James D Money up here in Simi Valley.
And I'm A-Rod down in SD. Let's get into it.
SD, San Diego. I do believe, was it back in '06 that a certain quarterback was drafted by the San Diego Chargers, but then he got traded. Oh no, a couple years later, right? How long did Drew Brees play in San Diego?
Like, I don't know, probably 10 minutes. Who knows?
Right.
He hurt his
I don't know
arm.
how long,
No,
right?
Nobody knows. He's just been a saint his whole career. He's going to the Hall of Fame as a saint.
Yeah, well, he wasn't a saint last week. I mean, yeah, that's his
I see
team.
what
But
you did
last
there.
week,
I see what you
you
did
like
there.
that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Drew put his foot in it last week.
Oh,
He really did. Right. So
he did.
what do we think about what Drew Brees said and the response he got?
My response, as soon as I saw the video, what he said was this. Oh. And then I saw LeBron react, and then Shannon Sharp went in
Oh,
on
Shannon
TV.
Sharp went in on it. He really did.
I was like, I didn't get all that
I felt
passion. I was like,
I felt bad for Skip when Shannon Sharp was going at
Skip was like, Skip got real small, getting further away.
right.
But like it's Drew stepped in it. I didn't think it warranted that much of a response.
Yeah, because I
warranted
think at one point. Okay.
Okay, I think it warranted a conversation, but not. And again, I like that Shannon Sharp is animated, so I like to think that wasn't just for TV, but the response was just should have got an Oscar. There it is.
Yeah, because he's talking about Drew Brees should probably retire. Like, didn't he say that at one point in his rant?
He said it. It's over the top. Yeah.
This is how I view that. I view that someone asked Drew Brees about the current situation, and he kind of defaulted to the default deflection because he honestly did feel that pride about the flag, even though that answer was, misplaced within the context of what's really going on. Because it's not about the flag, right? And I'm sure he's got that message now. It wasn't about the flag. Colin Kaepernick, the kneeling wasn't about disrespect to the flag, and he's got that. I honestly think Drew just put his foot in his mouth. He said it, and then people called him on it, like, dude, that's not what this is about. How tone deaf are you being right now? You know what I mean? That's how I see it. But he did get a lot of blowback.
You can't ask that man to know what the quote unquote black man's plight is if he's not black.
Really?
Breaking news. Think about this. Based on what he said, he's been carrying that since Colin Kaepernick started kneeling, which is what, 3-4 years ago, whatever it was.
Right.
He's been carrying that. That's been his mindset the entire time. Still a teammate. You're going to still see that guy pumping up his guys in the huddle. He's not black. Like, he's not black Monday through Sunday. Any Monday.
And you can't expect him to feel certain things. I mean, I guess he could empathize or sympathize, whichever one of those is applicable right there.
To a certain degree.
Right. I mean, because he's been in New Orleans since however long he's been there. He's been, a model. I don't want to say model citizen like he's a criminal. He's been an active part of the community, helping New Orleans, right? And so, given all of that, he's still not a black guy. And he put his foot in his mouth. He got the blowback, and some people were ready to condemn him, right? Weren't they burning his jerseys? Yes. And I can't believe he said that, and I'll never forgive him, right? I mean, because Shannon Sharp was acting like if he ran into Drew Brees on the street, he was going to jump the guy.
It was over.
Yeah, exactly. So if we want people to change their mindset, and again, I'm not saying Drew Brees has a particular mindset, and I really believe based on his apology and his video apology, right? His face-to-face apology.
Yes.
I believe he gets it, right? However, for those people who are like, I'm not going to forgive him, right? I don't care what. I don't care what he said. for those people, my question to them is, if you don't give him the room to make an apology, don't you limit his ability to grow within
Yes,
within the context of this situation, right?
absolutely. And indirectly, no, directly, you're keeping him on the other side of the argument. Keep talking about we and us, but you've literally shut the gate on Drew Brees if you don't
Right.
accept his apology. One of the things I found impressive was his young 20-something teammates accepted his apology
Michael
before,
Thomas, except
yes, before the older, wiser people, the LeBrons and the Shannon Sharps, accepted his apology.
do you think that could be because Michael Thomas is in that locker room with Drew Brees and he
No,
knows Drew Brees?
no, well, no, because if he says something offensive enough, we're going to have a problem.
True, true.
You,
But
you know,
so let's discuss that. I mean, all right, before we even get into that, if we don't allow Drew Brees to issue that apology, we don't let him grow. And like you said, we directly keep him on the other side of the argument, right? And of course,
mm,
let's say we do that. Let's say we keep on the other side of the argument. We're like, forget Drew Brees. We don't care, right? We cancel him, right? That whole cancel culture thing we were talking about.
yeah.
Doesn't that cause him to grow even stronger on the other side of the argument? And now he's raising little tiny people to grow up with that same mindset, right? And it just
So,
perpetuates the
yes,
right. So I think, again, I'm not saying Drew Brees really feels this way. I honestly think he put his foot in his mouth, but I think you have to give him room to make the apologies so you can allow him to grow with you with
and
this
and,
situation.
and recruit him to our side of the argument.
Right. Right. And hopefully at some point it'll be all of our argument. We'll all have the same argument, right?
Yeah,
Now, I think Drew Brees put his foot in his mouth. However, what Drew Brees said is miles apart from what Jake Fromm got caught saying.
you mean Grand Wizard from? The problem with Fromm is he's 20 stupid. I mean, we all do dumb stuff in our 20s. I get it.
Right.
But that was a year ago, 2019. It's 100% true. Now, as a guy, who was single once, I definitely question why this woman, whoever she is, whatever the relationship is or was, dug deep into her iPhone, Galaxy, whatever, and brought these text messages to light.
Wasn't it because she said, she supports the Black Lives Matter movement and I just had to get this off my chest? Whatever
But
she said.
okay, that's all happening. We all watch the craziness going on in the streets, the looting and all that craziness. Let me dig into my phone and see what I can find. Yeah.
Let me dig into my phone and pull out a statement from a guy that nobody's thinking about. Nobody's thinking about Jake
Only
Fromm.
him and his mother. I guarantee you, half the Buffalo Bills don't know who that guy is.
All right,
Who?
and he got drafted as their backup quarterback. Yeah, so
Deep
I mean,
backup.
and I don't even know what the context of the conversation was, but Jake Fromm did say they should raise the prices of guns, raise the price of guns, so only elite white people can afford that.
That that's so specific.
It's very specific, and it's
It's,
also a conversation
it's
that he didn't think anyone else would ever see. So that's why
it,
I'm like, oh, that's
it's
from his heart.
it's almost it's so specific and so thought out. You know, only elite white people, which leads me to believe that
He
before he said
believes
he that he
he
was elite, and I'm
or he
like,
believes he is. And here's another thing that leaps out at me when you're talking about someone that young, that age. He learned that from somebody, right?
oh, you learned
Because
that.
we agree racism is you're not born racist. You learn to be a racist. You're taught that, right? So I have to wonder if he's saying that at this young age. Because we call it 20 stupid because when you're in your 20s, just like when you're 12. You think you've lived such a long life, and you have this vast, cauldron of experience. And the joke is that you don't have enough experience to even realize that you don't have enough experience,
Don't.
right? So for
You
him
said
to say that,
cauldron.
you like that? For him to even say that, I have to wonder, at his age, like, where did you learn that? Somebody taught him that.
It's,
So
family. It's where it starts. I mean, that
everything
behavior.
starts. Everything starts at home.
That
Everything.
behavior didn't start at college. You know what I mean?
No.
That's
No, because if he felt differently before college, you don't just change gears in a day.
He did release an apology, but don't think for 1 second that statement isn't who he really is.
Where is he from?
Deep Georgia, like the bottom half of the South.
But he's going to Buffalo, where what percent of the league is African American?
All of it. That's my number. I mean, 80% or whatever the number is. I'm guessing.
And they were talking about, how hard is it going to be for him to get the respect of his teammates now? I would think it's going to be pretty hard, considering the majority of his teammates are African American, right?
And you don't want to be on the field when all those giant pass rushers, Ndamukong Suh, Aaron Donald, coming after you.
Well, he's not even. He might have to wait a few years before that happens, because he probably won't see the field this year. I don't know, unless Josh Allen gets hurt, because Josh Allen likes to run around and get hurt a lot. Right?
You can still light a dude up in preseason.
True.
It only takes one hit.
This is true. This is true. What about since we're talking about this, Vic Fangio? What do you think about what the coach of your team said? Ooh, all up in them Broncos.
I think it's along the same lines as Drew Brees. It's just everybody, no matter where you're from, you live in your own bubble. I live in my bubble. Sometimes I let my wife in my bubble. But like
occasionally, when
occasionally, but he totally stepped in it. But that statement for him is true, because I don't know that.
So it's true for him because he didn't see the racism.
Correct, or experience it.
Right.
And which is very, very much possible.
I guess that's
he's
fair.
a white. And he's wrong, but again, if you don't live your life looking for it, it's very easy to be blind to something. Think about this. As a 60-something-year-old man, he's just now getting his first head coach gig. So he's been busting his butt, climbing through the ranks, trying to get to coach somewhere. Finally landed with the Broncos, and all the pressure's on him. But I just don't think, if you're that focused on whatever your craft is, it's very easy to just be in your bubble. I'm not excusing what he said, but
right.
I think it's true.
And I get that.
He walked it back, but I still think it's true.
He did, and he even walked it back, like literally protesting.
Like he went protesting with the team because he was like, "Ooh, Von Miller."
Right. So going back to the bubble statement, Vic Fangio lives in his little bubble, where Ben Watson came out publicly and said his experience in his bubble, that he's played with plenty of racist teammates.
Right? I believe that.
Yeah, and it's not so much that he's had, that he was saying that the dudes who are overt about it, there was the guys who are easy to spot, and those guys are usually handled before they even get to him, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's more the other guys who are, a little more covert about their feelings. And he made a statement. He made a comment about, you'll be having a conversation with a guy, and he'll say something kind of off color that his father said. Yeah, my father used to say this, and my father used to say that, and then you got to wonder, like, well, so he was saying, I don't know if it was directly in response to the whole Vic Fangio thing or just the whole racism issue altogether, but he came straight out and was like, yeah, I play with plenty of racist teammates.
Absolutely. I think it's
So
interesting how
two
different bubbles, but I think it's interesting how you can be like, yeah, I'm racist. I'm from this part of the country. This is what my father said, or this is how I was raised. But we can put on the same helmet and go to war in the same direction with the same goal. So it's like I turn my racist knob off, go to work, and then I clock out and turn it back on. Like it's really weird, that whole dynamic.
It is, but I guess when you're on a football team, you want people to keep all their other noise out of the locker room. Because when you come in the locker room, it's time to work. You should all have that same goal. We want to win. We want to win, right? That's why I can't stand those dudes who talk about it's not fun to work in New England. Those players who have said that I didn't have any fun in New England. Come on, man. You have fun winning. It's not about going to work and having fun. It's about going to work and doing the job and trying to win the Super Bowl. So I can understand, if Joe Schmo is racist and this guy is racist, but when you come into the locker room, leave it outside. Let's focus on this. I don't even know where I was going with that.
I mean, I think there's racists in the NFL right now.
Right.
But
I mean, obviously, just because of the stuff that's happened over the past week, right?
Yeah, take Jake. Let's go back to Fromm. Let's say Fromm got drafted and he's with the Rams. There's a bit of a culture shock going from Georgia to the insanity that is LA. Living here, just driving on the freeway is a melting pot. Going to any business is just different.
Well, I think he's in, and I agree with you 100%, but I think he's going to be, get a rude awakening as far as culture shock when he starts camp. Whatever, camp looks like.
It's going to be on his back. That's all I'm saying.
Again, we're giving, I said that we need to give Drew Brees the room to make an apology and room to grow. And I really feel that Drew Brees, put his foot in his mouth. I guess, I can't say that we shouldn't give Jake Fromm the ability or the room to make an apology too. Whether we believe him or not, I don't know. I guess we can judge that by his actions. But,
sure.
I need to see his actions, as far as integrity goes.
In February, let me see your Black History Month actions.
No, I just want to see
what you're doing this month.
I want to see what his actions are when he thinks nobody's watching, right? Just like that phone conversation. I want to see what happens now, and I'm willing to give him the room for that, even though what he said was drastically different from what Drew Brees said. But in order for him, because like I said, we don't want him on the other side of the fence because he was taught something. And if we keep him on the other side of the fence and don't try to educate him at this point, then he's just gonna, clone more people who think the way he thinks. And I don't mean clone like scientifically clone. I mean get married and procreate and then teach that next generation the same.
That's cloning. That's a form of cloning. We've been doing it for years. We've been doing it for years. You get the small little creature you get to manipulate into whatever you are.
True. That's true. That is true. And little humans, as I like to call them, they're like sponges. Everything you do, you never know when one of those things will come back out at you, right? And it's funny because even as a parent, I've even said like when Anna has said something that I didn't expect her to say. What's that question? Oh, where'd that come from? Well, go look in the mirror, D. Go look in the mirror, D Money, because that's probably where it came from.
You.
Right.
Absolutely.
So it's been interesting. Hopefully, we'll get some football and maybe
anything.
Yeah, anything, right? But these issues. What?
You should put Drew Brees on Hard Knocks, mic'd up every day. That's some TV. Yeah, you would watch it.
I would watch
it. I'd watch it.
I'd watch it, but I am glad that Michael Thomas, that's my teammate. He made a mistake. He said, let's get back to the movement, right? That's what he said. He made a mistake. let's get back to the movement. I'm with that. Shannon Sharp really went in on Drew Brees, but then he came back and said that he and Drew Brees had a conversation. And, based on that conversation, they're good. He's ready to roll. He believes Drew Brees. He accepted his apology. I think Jake Fromm has a longer way to go. Vic Fangio, like you said, he walked it back literally, right?
He's 66 years old or whatever. I mean,
if he hasn't seen it, he hasn't seen it. So we want NFL, and we don't want any of this stuff to taint that. But we do want people to grow. We do want people to learn. We do want people to come together. And that's where I'm going to leave that at this point. Any final comments about Drew or Jake or Vic? Or
watching you from. Watch.
And if you like what you're seeing here, please make sure you hit that like button. If you have any comments about what we had to say, or you want to clap back at us about anything, put that in the comments as well. We always want to hear. We want to hear the comments, good or bad. All right. And please subscribe so we can keep coming at you with this content, giving you the biz. We're trying to stay all up in it.
Absolutely.
Right? I'm Daniels D Money signing out from Simi Valley.
Hey, Ron, signing out from SD.
And we out.
Oh,